V6. Have you ever felt tired, even after sleeping for 10 hours? Do you sometimes feel like you're not physically sick, but something inside you is just broken? Why does the body stay heavy even when there's no fever? And why does the mind feel noisy even when the room is silent? There are moments in life when everything seems fine on the outside, but inside, it feels like a quiet storm is tearing you apart. You're walking, talking, smiling, yet you know something deep within is asking for help. That help doesn't always come from doctors, medicines, or others. It comes from you, from your own power, from something very ancient and pure inside you. Think of a time when you were heartbroken, maybe lost someone, or failed badly. At that moment, it felt like the end of the world, right? But look at you now, still standing, breathing, surviving. What healed you? Time? Maybe. But also you. You chose to continue. That choice was self-healing. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we bring not just knowledge, but deep realizations for your mind and soul. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of people actually subscribe. So if you find this valuable, please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. It helps us grow and bring more such wisdom to your life. Self-healing is not some magical practice. It is real, and it is possible. It doesn't require big spiritual actions. It starts with small awareness, like noticing your breath, understanding your emotions, and learning to pause. In Buddhism, healing is not just about the body. It begins with the mind. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." That means if you carry pain, your body feels it. If you carry peace, your body reflects it. Simple, right? But still, many people ignore this. They run after quick fixes. Pills, distractions, pleasures, all temporary. And the pain? It just waits silently. It never truly leaves until you face it. So today, we begin a journey that takes no ticket, no travel, just you, your willingness to understand your inner world. Healing is not always about removing pain. Sometimes it's about learning to sit with it. In the next parts, we will explore how thoughts hurt us, how silence heals, how to connect with yourself again. But for now, just know this, you're not broken. You're just not listening deeply enough. Let's start. Why pain is not your enemy. Sit down, breathe, be still for a moment. I will tell you something that many people never learn in their lifetime, and that is, pain is not your enemy. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Pain hurts. It burns, it breaks, it makes us cry. So how can it not be the enemy? But let me ask you something. When you touch fire and it hurts your hand, do you blame the pain? Or do you thank it for warning you that something is wrong? Pain is not punishment. It is a message. It is your body, your heart, your mind, all shouting together, "Please listen." Let me tell you a small story. There was once a young man who came to me, full of anger and grief. He had lost his job, his partner had left him, and he felt completely defeated. He asked me, "Why is life so cruel to me?" I smiled gently and gave him a cup of tea. I said, "Drink it slowly. Don't rush." He looked confused, but he obeyed. As he sipped the tea, I said, "Do you feel the warmth of the tea?" He nodded. I asked, "If this tea was boiling hot, would your hand not pull away immediately?" He nodded again, slowly understanding. "That is pain," I said. "It is the heat that tells you something is too much." Pain is your teacher. The world teaches us that pain should be avoided, escaped, or buried. But in Zen, we do not run away from pain. We sit with it. We observe it. And slowly, it starts to speak. It tells us what we need to change, what we need to accept, and what we must let go. Pain is the alarm bell of healing. It says here, right here, something needs attention. If you try to silence it too soon with distraction, noise, or denial, it doesn't go away. It just hides. And when pain hides, it grows roots, deep roots. It becomes suffering. There is a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is natural. Suffering is what happens when we resist the pain, when we cling to what has already passed or fear what hasn't yet come. In Buddhism, we call this clinging tanha, thirst, craving. And when we crave the absence of pain, we end up suffering more. But if we simply observe the pain without judging it, without fighting it, something magical happens. It starts to soften. It begins to heal. Many people carry emotional wounds for years. They say things like, "I'm over it," or "it doesn't affect me anymore." But the truth is, if you cannot talk about it without anger, fear, or sadness, then it still lives inside you. And it is not wrong that it lives inside you. What is wrong is that you have stopped listening to it. One of my students once said, "Master, I feel like I am carrying a heavy backpack of pain every day. How do I drop it?" I told him, "You don't drop it. You open it. See what's inside. Understand why you're carrying it in the first place." And when he opened it, he found old memories, broken dreams, guilt, and deep loneliness. He cried for many days. But after that, he started to feel lighter. Why? Because healing had begun, not from ignoring the pain, but from sitting with it. Have you ever cried and felt strangely peaceful afterward? That is healing too, because in those tears, your body is releasing pain. It is letting go of what you were holding in for so long. Pain always asks two things of you. First, please don't run away. Second, please understand me. When you start seeing pain as a message, a teacher, you stop fearing it. You begin to welcome it like an old friend who only visits when something inside you is ready to change. Let me give you another example. A seed has to break open for a tree to grow. That breaking is not a mistake. That breaking is life beginning. The pain of that crack is not the end, it's the start. So when your heart breaks, maybe it's making space for something bigger. When your peace is disturbed, maybe life is asking you to grow. Pain always points to the next lesson. Do not ask, "Why me?" Instead, ask, "What is this pain trying to show me?" In the teachings of the Buddha, he never promised a life without pain. Even he suffered hunger, betrayal, aging, death of loved ones. But what he discovered was the path beyond suffering, the Eightfold Path. And on that path, one of the first steps is right view, seeing clearly. Seeing pain clearly means not decorating it with extra thoughts, not saying, "This shouldn't have happened," or "I am weak because I feel this." No, pain is not weakness. It is the most powerful form of awareness. You're not weak for feeling deeply. You're strong for surviving it. And you become wise by learning from it. Self-healing begins when you stop asking pain to leave and instead ask it to sit with you, like a quiet guest. Offer it tea, ask it why it came, and listen. You will be surprised. Pain always has a reason. Sometimes it says, "You ignored your heart for too long." Sometimes it says, "You've been carrying others for years and forgot yourself." And sometimes it just says, "You are human, and this is part of the journey." There is no shame in pain. There is only silence, and inside that silence, truth. In Zen, we don't escape life. We walk through it barefoot, slowly, with full awareness. If there are thorns, we feel them. But we don't curse the path. We walk wiser next time. So, today I invite you to pause. Don't fight your pain. Don't rush to fix it. Just be with it. Feel in your chest, your shoulders, your breath. Say to yourself, "I am listening now." This simple act of not resisting is where healing begins. And that is the real power of self-healing. It doesn't come from outside. It doesn't need a miracle. It just needs one brave step to stop running from what hurts. In the next part, we will talk about silence, how in the absence of words, healing speaks the loudest. But for today, just remember, pain is not your enemy. It is your guide, your first teacher. And every time you listen to it with love, you become a little more free. Now breathe again, slowly. You've already started healing. Silence is where healing begins. Cool me. Sit near me. No rush. No noise. Just silence. Listen not to my words, but to the space between them. Listen not to the world outside, but the one inside. This is where the true healing begins, in silence. Many people believe healing begins when something happens, when someone says the right thing, when a medicine starts working, when time passes. But real healing starts much before that. It starts in the moment you stop running and become still. In Zen, we say, When the water is still, it reflects the moon. But if the water is always shaking, moving, disturbed, it cannot reflect anything. Your mind is like that water, and silence is the stillness that lets you see clearly. But I understand. Silence scares many people. When the TV is off, the phone is down, and there are no distractions, suddenly the noise inside becomes loud. Regret, overthinking, past wounds, fear all come knocking. And what do people do? They turn the noise back on. Music, news, scrolling, talking, eating, anything just to avoid silence. But let me ask you, if a wound is hidden under cloth, does it heal faster? Or does it need air, space, quiet? Just like that, your emotional wounds need silence too. Noise only covers them. Silence treats them. I remember once, a young woman came to me and said, "Master, I feel tired all the time. I cry easily. My thoughts don't stop. I think I'm broken." I did not speak. I just pointed to the garden and said, "Sit there. Do nothing. Just listen." She looked puzzled. "Listen to what?" I said, "Everything." And nothing. She sat there for hours. At first, she was restless, then confused, then quiet. When she returned, her face was softer, her eyes gentler. She whispered, "I heard birds, leaves, my breath." I felt my heart beating for the first time in weeks. And Master, I cried, but the tears felt healing. This is the power of silence. You see, when there is no noise outside, you begin to hear the noise inside. And only when you hear it can you start to understand it. Only when you understand it can you begin to heal. In Buddhism, silence is not emptiness. It is full of awareness. When the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, he did not chant loudly. He did not ask anyone to help him. He sat in silence, facing all his fears, all his doubts, all his pain. And in that silence, he found enlightenment. Why? Because silence is the home of truth. Words can lie. Noise can distract. But silence? Silence always tells the truth. When someone is grieving, we often don't know what to say. So we say things like, "Be strong," or "It'll be okay." But sometimes the best thing you can do is sit beside them and say nothing. Just be there. That silent presence is more healing than 1,000 words. Try this with yourself too. Next time you're overwhelmed, instead of reaching for your phone or talking to someone, just sit. No music, no thinking, just breathe. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will race. But don't judge it. Let it run and let it slow down on its own. Like a river, it always calms after time. When we are always talking, even in our own heads, we cannot listen to what our soul is trying to say. Some answers come only in silence. Do you know why monks take vows of silence? Not because they don't have anything to say, but because they're learning to listen deeply, not with ears, but with their whole being. They're not shutting out the world. They're opening up to the deeper parts of themselves. Sometimes silence reveals the source of your pain. Sometimes silence gives you peace without solving anything. Sometimes silence simply says, "You're safe now." In modern life, people are constantly stimulated. Their minds are like a crowded street. Cars honking, people shouting, lights flashing. That's why they cannot feel peace. There's no space for it. But healing needs space. Silence is that space. Let me give you a simple exercise. Every morning, before the world begins, take 10 minutes. Sit alone. No phone. No plans. Just close your eyes and observe your breath. At first, thoughts will come. Don't fight them. Just watch them pass by like clouds. And return to your breath. This practice is called anapanasati in Buddhism, mindfulness of breathing. It brings you into silence, into presence, into healing. You don't need to go to a temple. Your breath is your temple. Your silence is your monkhood. Your awareness is your master. Now, let's speak about something important, emotional storms. When anger comes, people explode or suppress it. But if you sit in silence, observe it, feel where it is in your body, ask it what it wants, it begins to melt. Anger does not grow in silence. It grows in reaction. Silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the most powerful thing, listening. Listen to your body. Where does it ache? Listen to your thoughts. Which ones repeat every day? Listen to your heart. What has it been asking for silently? You'll be amazed to find that the answers were never outside. They were buried under your own noise. Even in relationships, silence is healing. Not the cold silence of anger, but the gentle silence of understanding. When two people sit together in peace, without needing to fill the air with words, that's love in its purest form. So today, I ask you, can you give yourself that love? Can you sit in silence, not as punishment, but as care? When you do, slowly your mind begins to clear. Your breath deepens. Your body softens. You feel like you're coming home, not to a place, but to yourself. And healing begins. You may not notice it instantly, but like a seed under the soil, change is happening. Slowly, gently, in silence. Remember, not everything needs to be fixed right now. Not every pain needs words. Some things just need space, time, stillness. So next time you're lost, overwhelmed, hurt, don't rush for answers. Don't rush for escape. Instead, sit, breathe, and enter the quiet. The healing you seek is waiting for you there. And in the next part, I will tell you how the mind, once it learns to let go, becomes your greatest healer. But for now, just be still. Just be here. Just be. The mind heals when it lets go. Come again. Sit down. Take a breath with me. Slowly in, slowly out. There is no rush here. No pressure. Only stillness. And a simple truth I want to share with you today. The mind begins to heal the moment it learns to let go. This may sound simple, but letting go, truly letting go, is one of the hardest, most powerful, and most healing things you will ever do in this life. Letting go is not forgetting. It is not pretending that something didn't happen. It is not forcing yourself to be happy. Letting go is releasing the weight that is no longer yours to carry. It is the moment you stop holding on to what has already passed. It is the moment your clenched fist opens. Not because the pain disappeared, but because you're tired of fighting it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever held a heavy bag in your hand for too long? At first you say, "It's okay, I can manage." But slowly your hand begins to hurt. Then your arm. Then your back. And still you say, "It's fine, I'll carry it a little more." Why? Because the bag is familiar. You've been carrying it for so long, you've forgotten what it's like to walk free. This is what the mind does. It carries old pain, old mistakes, old memories, even old guilt for years. And the body? The body listens quietly. It stores that weight in your shoulders, your neck, your chest. The heaviness you feel when you wake up, sometimes it's not your body. It's your mind refusing to let go. But the mind can be trained, not forced. Not punished, trained gently, patiently, like a wild animal slowly learning to trust. In Buddhism, we often speak of clinging. Clinging to the past, clinging to what was lost, clinging to what should have happened. And that clinging creates suffering. Pain happens, yes. But suffering? That is the part we add. Letting go removes that part. Let me tell you a short story, a Zen story. Two monks were walking through a forest. On the path, they came across a woman standing before a river. She was afraid to cross. Without hesitation, the older monk lifted her onto his shoulders, carried her across the river, and set her down safely. The woman thanked him and left. Hours later, the younger monk finally spoke. "Why did you carry that woman? We're not supposed to touch women." The older monk smiled. "I set her down hours ago, but you are still carrying her." This is the mind. It holds things long after they are gone. It keeps replaying the scene, the argument, the hurt, again and again, as if doing so will change something. But nothing changes. Only your peace is lost. So I ask you, what are you still carrying? A betrayal that happened 5 years ago? Word someone said to you long back? A mistake you made and still punish yourself for? Let go. But how, Master? How do I let go? This is the real question. And the answer is not a sudden action. It is a practice, a gentle practice. First, you must notice what you're holding. You must become aware. You cannot let go of something you don't even know you're gripping. Sit in silence. Ask yourself, what hurt am I still feeding? What thought do I keep watering? You may be surprised at what comes up. A memory you thought was gone. A feeling you never fully felt. That's okay. Let it come. The second step, acceptance. You don't have to agree with what happened. But you have to accept that it happened. Without acceptance, the mind stays stuck. It keeps trying to rewrite the story. If only I had said this. If only I had done that. If only things were different. No, what happened, happened. And now, the healing begins not from changing the past, but from releasing it. The third step, forgiveness. This is a deep one. Not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. For not knowing better. For staying too long. For not healing faster. Self-forgiveness is the soil in which healing grows. Then, you gently tell your mind, it's okay now. You don't have to protect me anymore. I'm ready to let this go. And you breathe. You release the tightness in your chest. You stop repeating the old story. You create space for something new to enter. Now, listen carefully. Letting go is not always one single moment. Sometimes it happens slowly. You let go layer by layer. You let go every morning, again and again, until one day you realize the memory is still there, but it no longer controls you. That is freedom. That is healing. Some people fear letting go because they think it means I don't care anymore. But that's not true. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care so much that you choose peace instead of pain. It means you respect yourself enough to stop reopening the same wound. There are old emotions living inside you like guests who overstayed their welcome. Anger, shame, blame, guilt. You gave them space. Now it's time to show them the door. Letting go doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It is an act of deep trust in yourself, in life, in the process. It's saying, I no longer need to control this. I surrender this to the flow of life. And when the mind lets go, even a little, the body feels it. You sleep deeper. You smile more. Your breath becomes fuller. Your shoulders drop. The tightness releases. That is the miracle of healing. It begins with a mental shift and slowly spreads to every part of your being. In Zen, we don't force the leaf to fall. We wait. We allow. Because we know, when the time is right, the tree lets go. So ask yourself, what am I ready to let go of? Then sit with it. Breathe with it. And when you're ready, even if it's just a small corner of it, release it. Again and again, you'll fall back into holding. That's okay. Don't fight the mind. Gently remind it. We are free now. We don't need to carry this anymore. And one day, without even realizing, you'll find your hands empty and your heart light. This is the power of letting go. This is the wisdom of the healing mind. And in the next part, we'll walk further into something deeper. How karma itself plays a role in your self-healing. But for now, sit quietly, close your eyes, and whisper to yourself, I'm ready to let go. Then feel the peace, rising gently like the sun after a long night. The role of karma in self-healing. Kulme, sit beside me again. Take a breath, not just with your lungs, but with your whole body. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. Let your shoulders drop. Let your mind rest. Today, I want to speak to you about something many fear, yet everyone lives with karma, but not in the way you've been taught by fear. Not as punishment, not as revenge. Karma is not a curse. It is not destiny punishing you. Karma is balance. Karma is reflection. Karma is healing waiting to happen. In its most simple meaning, karma is this. What you plant, you will one day harvest. That's it. When you speak kind words, you create gentle ripples in your life. When you hurt others, even unknowingly, that energy doesn't disappear. It moves, it travels, and one day it returns to you, not to punish you, but to complete the circle. Many people suffer in silence, and they ask, why me? Why is life so unfair? Why do bad things happen to good people? And these are real, honest questions. But the answer lies not just in this life. In Buddhism, we understand that life is like a thread that goes far back. Many lives, many moments, all connected. But even if we don't speak of past lives, even if we look only at this life, the truth remains. Every action creates a ripple. Every thought, every word, every emotion, it all has energy. Now, here is the gentle truth. Most of your pain is not bad luck. It is not because life hates you. It is because life is balancing something, healing something, teaching you something. And karma is part of that teaching. Imagine your life is a garden. Everything you feel, do, or say is a seed. If you plant seeds of jealousy, you will grow thorns. If you plant seeds of peace, you will grow flowers. But here's the part many forget. Your inner world is also affected by the seeds you've planted. So if you're asking, why can't I heal? You must ask also, what have I been feeding my mind and soul every day? Anger? Blame? Regret? These are seeds too. Karma shows up in pain not to break you, but to wake you up. It says, look, something needs attention. Something was done, maybe long ago, and now must be faced, felt, and released. And the moment you do that, healing begins. So many people walk around carrying heavy karmic energy without even knowing. They wonder why relationships keep breaking, why peace feels far away, why the same pain repeats in different forms. But they never stop to reflect. What pattern am I repeating? What pain have I not healed that keeps showing up in new faces? What lesson is life patiently waiting for me to learn? These questions are not just spiritual, they're practical. Let me tell you a small story. There was a man who kept falling into toxic friendships. Again and again, different people, same pain. He came to me and said, Master, why do people always betray me? I asked him, who was the first person to betray you? He thought for a while and said, my father. I nodded. And since then, you've been chasing that same story, trying to fix the wound through others. But karma doesn't ask you to fix others. It asks you to see yourself. He fell silent. This is how karma works. It's not revenge from the universe. It's a mirror. It shows you what's still inside you. And until you look in that mirror with honesty, with softness, the pattern will repeat. But here is the most important thing I want you to hear today. Karma is not fixed. It is not a punishment written in stone. Karma can be softened. Karma can be healed. Karma can be transformed. And you do that through awareness. When you notice your patterns, when you change your responses, when you act with kindness where once you acted with anger, you are healing karma. When you forgive instead of hate, when you take responsibility instead of blame, when you sit in silence instead of reacting blindly, that is karma dissolving. You're not stuck. You're not cursed. You're not doomed by your past. You are alive. You are breathing. And that means you have the power to heal your karma. In Buddhism, there's a deep understanding that every moment is new. The present moment holds all possibilities. Yes, the past created the present, but the present creates the future. So if you want a peaceful future, plant peaceful thoughts now. If you want a loving future, speak loving words now. If you want to heal, then choose healing actions, even when no one is watching. Karma doesn't care about appearances. It listens to energy, to truth. Even if you've done many wrong things in the past, if today you sincerely choose peace, you change your path. Even if your past is heavy, one honest moment of awareness can begin to shift. Self-healing, then, is not separate from karma. They walk together. When you heal yourself, you're also healing your karmic wounds. When you sit with your pain, instead of blaming others, you break the old chain. When you forgive your younger self, you free your future self. One of my students once asked, Master, if karma is so powerful, does that mean everything is already written? I smiled and replied, even if the water flows down the mountain, the river still has the freedom to choose its curves. You're that river. Karma may bring you certain lessons, but how you respond, that is your freedom, that is your power. So if life has brought you pain, don't ask, why this? Ask instead, how can I respond with wisdom? That one shift can change everything. The one who hurts you may not heal you, but the one who forgives you becomes the healer. The one who chooses kindness again and again becomes the breaker of chains. In this way, self-healing becomes a gift, not just for you, but for your past and your future. You're healing not only your body, but your story, your energy, your path. So today, I ask you, what karmic cycle are you ready to end? What pain are you ready to stop passing on? What kind of action can you take, not to fix the past, but to shape a new tomorrow? Sit with these questions. Breathe with them. You don't need to rush. Just know that every small act of awareness is powerful. Every gentle step forward is enough. This is karma. This is healing. This is you reclaiming your path, one mindful choice at a time. And in the next part, we'll go even deeper into how suffering itself is not punishment, but a sacred teacher, a part of your awakening. But for now, be still, be kind, be here, and let your karma start healing with you. Suffering is the teacher, not the punishment. Sit down again, gently. Place your hands on your lap. Breathe in, breathe out. Let your body soften. Let your mind stop fighting. Today, I will tell you something most people never realize until it is too late. Suffering is not your punishment. Suffering is your teacher. I know these words may not feel easy at first. When you're in pain, when everything feels heavy, when nothing seems to be going right, hearing that your suffering is a teacher may sound strange, even cruel. But allow me to explain. Slowly, gently, with no rush, with an open heart. Let us begin with a question. Why do we suffer? Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Why do we feel heartbreak, loneliness, rejection, grief, confusion, guilt, shame? Why do we go through deep loss, betrayal, fear, depression? Is it because life is unfair? Is it because we are cursed? Is it because we are weak? No, none of these. We suffer because life is constantly asking us to wake up, to look inside, to see what is real, and to let go of what is false. You see, suffering is not a sign that something is wrong with you. Suffering is a signal that something needs to be seen more clearly. Something needs attention. Something inside you is calling out. In Buddhism, the Buddha did not promise a life without suffering. In fact, the first noble truth he taught was this: life involves suffering. But he didn't stop there. He also said, there's a cause to suffering. There's an end to suffering. And there's a path to that end. Let me give you an example. A woman came to me once, crying deeply. Her partner had left her. She said, "Why does love hurt so much? I gave everything. Why am I being punished?" I did not tell her, "Don't cry." I did not tell her, "Be strong." I simply said, "Good. Cry. Let your heart break fully. And then we will talk." After her tears softened her anger, I asked her, "Did you love him? Or did you love how he made you feel about yourself?" She fell silent. Sometimes, our suffering shows us the difference between attachment and love, between illusion and truth, between need and growth. Suffering is the teacher that walks in when all other voices have failed. It strips you bare, not to destroy you, but to show you what was never real to begin with. It says, look, this belief, this expectation, this desire, it was never stable. It was never going to last. And in that space, after the loss, after the breaking, something new is born. Clarity. Clarity is the gift of suffering. You start to see what matters. You learn to let go. You discover your strength, not in avoiding pain, but in facing it. In Zen, we have a saying, the obstacle is the path. That means the thing you're running from is actually your way forward. The pain you want to escape is the door to your healing. Think about this. Have you ever gone through something very hard? Maybe a breakup, a failure, an illness, and years later, you looked back and said, that experience changed me. It made me stronger. It taught me something I didn't know I needed to learn. That is what I mean. Suffering is not meant to break you. It is meant to break you open to deeper wisdom, open to compassion, open to life as it really is, not as you wished it would be. Sometimes the pain you feel is not even yours. It is your mother's sadness, your father's silence, your ancestors' fear passed down through time. And still, it comes to you, not to punish, but to be healed through you. When you sit with your pain, instead of running, hiding, or numbing it, you become the healer of generations. That is no small thing. That is sacred. And here is another truth. Your suffering connects you to others. When you have suffered, you understand others better. You don't judge too quickly. You don't speak carelessly. You listen with your heart. That kind of person, one who has been touched by pain, but softened by it, becomes a light to others. The ones who have suffered and grown, they are the real teachers. Not because they know more, but because they understand more. Now, let me ask you this. What if, instead of saying, why is this happening to me, You said, "What is this here to teach me?" Can you feel the shift? One question makes you a victim. The other makes you a student. And a student can always grow. A student can always heal. But how do we learn from suffering? We don't learn by overthinking. We don't learn by blaming others. We learn by observing. We sit with the pain. We ask it, "What are you trying to show me?" We feel it fully, without distraction. And slowly, the lesson appears. Sometimes it says, "You were expecting too much from others." Sometimes it says, "You've been ignoring your needs." Sometimes it just says, "You need rest. You need love. You need to start again." You see, the pain is not against you. It's trying to get your attention. It comes as anxiety, as anger, as sadness, as tiredness. And when you keep pushing it away, it screams louder. But when you listen, it calms. It softens. It begins to leave. In that way, suffering becomes the greatest healer when you allow it to speak. Even physical pain carries emotional weight. Sometimes your back pain is not just from your chair. It's from burdens you refuse to put down. Sometimes your headache is not just from screen time. It's from the constant pressure you place on yourself to be perfect. So many illnesses are the body's way of saying, "Please slow down. Please listen. Please feel." And when you do, something inside shifts. The body starts to relax. The mind stops fighting. The heart begins to trust again. This is healing, and suffering guided you to it. You don't have to thank your suffering, but you do have to respect it, because it came into your life as a teacher. And like all teachers, it will leave once the lesson is learned. So now I invite you, sit in silence. Bring to mind one pain that still lives inside you. Don't push it away. Just look at it. Feel it. Hold it like a child crying in your arms. And whisper, "I'm listening now. Teach me." Then breathe. Let unfold. Let soften. Let speak. You will find, slowly, that the pain loses its sharp edge. It becomes a companion, not an enemy. It becomes a guide, not a curse. This is how suffering transforms. This is how healing begins. And in the next part, I will speak of the first true medicine of the mind, detachment. Not coldness, not numbness, but the peaceful art of letting things pass without losing your peace. But until then, sit with your teacher. Sit with your pain. And remember, you're not being punished. You are being prepared. You're being purified. You are being returned to your truest self. The peace of detachment. Come, sit with me once again. Take a breath in. Slowly release it. Let the mind rest. There is no need to rush or force anything here. Just presence. Just being. Today, I want to talk about something very precious, the peace that comes from detachment. Now, don't misunderstand me. Detachment is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is not about shutting down your heart or ignoring life. True detachment is a quiet strength, a peaceful space inside where you watch the world without being pulled into its storms. You may ask, "Master, why is detachment important for healing?" Because, my friend, the root of much suffering is attachment. Attachment to people, to ideas, to outcomes, to expectations. These create chains around your heart. When you expect things to be a certain way, you set yourself up for disappointment. When you hold tightly to how you think life should be, you build walls around your peace. And these walls make healing impossible. Let me tell you a story. A young man once came to me, restless and troubled. He said, "Master, I love my family deeply, but their decisions cause me pain. I cannot stop feeling hurt and angry." I asked, "Do you want to control their choices?" He looked confused. "Yes, I want them to be as I hope." I smiled gently. "And what happens when they choose differently?" He sighed. "I suffer." "Then, my son," I said, "you are attached not just to them, but to how they should be." He nodded slowly. Attachment is like holding water tightly in your hands. The more you squeeze, the faster it slips away. But if you hold your hands open, gently cupping the water, you keep it longer. Detachment teaches you to open your hands, to accept life as it is, not as you wish it to be. In Buddhism, detachment is called upekkha, equanimity. It is the ability to stand firm and peaceful even when the world around you changes. This is not easy, Because the world is always changing. People change. Situations change. Even your own mind changes. But if your peace depends on things staying the same, your peace will be fragile. Detachment is the practice of loving without clinging, of caring without needing control, of being present without losing yourself. How does this relate to healing? When you learn detachment, you stop feeding your wounds with fear and resistance. You stop fighting what is. You stop trying to fix everything immediately. Instead, you allow life to flow through you. You let pain come and go like waves on the ocean. You do not drown in them. You do not resist them. And in that flowing, healing begins. Let me share a simple exercise with you. Next time you feel overwhelmed by emotions, anger, sadness, worry, stop, breathe, name the feelings silently. Say to yourself, this is anger. This is sadness. Watch it without judgment. Don't try to push it away. Don't try to hold on to it. Imagine it as a cloud passing through the sky. You are the vast sky, not the cloud. The cloud appears. It moves on. The sky remains. This practice of observing without clinging is detachment. It does not mean you do not feel. It means you do not let feelings control you. When your mind learns this, it becomes calm. Your heart becomes soft yet strong. This calmness is the soil where healing grows. Another way to understand detachment is through the story of the lotus flower. The lotus grows in muddy water, but its leaves and petals are never stained by the mud. They rise above, clean and beautiful. Detachment is like the lotus. You live in the world with its pain, its joy, its chaos. But you don't get stuck in the mud of suffering. You rise above it with gentle awareness. This is a powerful medicine, because attachment often causes suffering not just for yourself, but for others. When you cling to people, they feel trapped. When you cling to outcomes, life feels like a battle. Detachment frees both you and those around you. It creates space for acceptance, for love, for peace. In your healing journey, practice detachment like this. Notice when your mind grabs tightly to thoughts like, I must be healed now. I can't live like this. I need things to change immediately. Gently remind yourself, it's okay to be here now. Healing is a process. I can let go of urgency. Notice when your heart clings to hopes or fears about people. Remind yourself, they're on their own path. I release control. With each moment of letting go, you unwrap a layer of suffering. You begin to see life clearly, not through the lens of desire or fear, but through the lens of acceptance. And acceptance does not mean giving up. It means understanding. It means saying, this is what is, and I am enough. When you rest in this understanding, healing flows naturally, because the mind is no longer trapped in fighting or craving. It is free to repair itself. So, my friend, detachment is not loss. It is gain. It is freedom. It is peace. It is the quiet power behind every healed wound, behind every calm heart, behind every peaceful mind. And it is available to you now. No matter where you are on your journey, no matter what pain you carry, you can practice detachment. You can open your hands. You can become like the sky. You can rise like the lotus, and healing will come. In the next part, I will share with you the role of compassion in self-healing. How opening your heart to yourself and others deepens the healing process beyond words. But until then, breathe with detachment. Let go. Be free. Be here. You are healing. You are whole. The healing power of compassion. Sit close. Breathe softly. Let us explore a light that can heal even the deepest wounds. Compassion. Many people think compassion is only about helping others or being kind when it's easy. But true compassion is much deeper than that. It starts from within. You see, self-healing begins when you open your heart to yourself with compassion. When you stop fighting your pain and start embracing it with tenderness. How often do you judge yourself? How often do you say, I should be stronger, or why can't I just get over this? These harsh words only deepen your wounds. Compassion says something different. It says, it's okay to be hurting. It's okay to be weak sometimes. You are human. You deserve kindness, especially from yourself. In Buddhism, compassion is called karuna. It is one of the four immeasurables, boundless feelings that connect us all. Imagine your heart is a small flame. Without compassion, the flame flickers and dims, struggling against the cold winds of pain and doubt. But when you wrap yourself in compassion, that flame grows steady and bright. It warms your soul. It lights the way through darkness. Let me tell you a story. A monk once asked the Buddha, "How do I find peace when my mind is full of anger and sadness?" The Buddha replied, "Treat yourself as you would treat a dear friend who is suffering. Offer the same kindness and patience." This is the essence of compassion. When you hold your own pain with gentleness, healing begins. But compassion is not just soft feelings. It is strong. It is brave. Because sometimes compassion asks you to face your pain fully, to look at your fears without turning away, to forgive the parts of yourself you hide. Compassion means you don't run from your mistakes or weaknesses. You meet them with a loving gaze. This is hard work, but it frees you. When you are compassionate toward yourself, you stop carrying the heavy burden of shame and blame. You allow your heart to breathe, and that breath is healing. Let me give you an exercise. When you feel pain or self-judgment, pause. Place your hand over your heart. Feel its warmth. Say softly, "I am here for you." Say it again, "I am here for you." Imagine your own arms wrapping around you in a gentle hug. It may feel strange at first, but with practice, this simple act opens a door. You will begin to trust yourself more. You will begin to listen to your needs instead of ignoring them. Compassion also teaches us patience. Healing is not a race. It is a slow unfolding, like a flower blooming in its own time. When you are impatient, you hurt yourself. You say, "Why am I not better yet? Why can't I move on?" But compassion says, it's okay to take your time. I will wait with you. That waiting with yourself, patiently, kindly, is powerful. Now, compassion is not only for yourself. It extends outward to others. When you are healing, your heart opens to see the suffering in others. You become softer, more understanding. You no longer see others as obstacles or threats. You see fellow travelers on the same journey. This connectedness is healing too, because when you share compassion, you break the cycle of loneliness. Many wounds deepen when we feel alone. Compassion bridges the distance. It reminds you, you are not separate. This understanding lifts heavy burdens. It also helps you forgive. Forgiveness is a form of compassion, not to excuse wrong actions, but to free yourself from bitterness. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When you forgive, you release that poison. You heal yourself. Now, I want to speak honestly. Compassion is not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It is about acknowledging pain fully and saying, "I see you. I am here with you." This presence is healing. The Buddha taught that the heart filled with compassion shines brightly. It melts the cold walls built by fear, and it nourishes the seeds of peace inside you. So, my friend, practice compassion daily. Be gentle with your thoughts. Be patient with your journey. Be kind to your body and your spirit. And watch as healing flows through your life, softening old scars, lifting heavy hearts, opening new paths. In the next part, I will share how mindfulness works with compassion to deepen your healing even more. But for now, simply breathe. Breathe with compassion. And know you are worthy of healing. You are worthy of love. You are enough. Sit quietly with that truth. Let it settle like warm sunlight on your soul. And let healing bloom. The healing touch of mindfulness. Come again. Sit by my siddha. Take a long, easy breath. Let it fill your chest. Let leave slowly. Today, I want to share something very simple and yet very deep. It's not a tool, not a rule, not a medicine in a bottle. It is the presence you carry with you at every moment. That presence is called mindfulness. And this, my dear one, is one of the most powerful roots of healing. Now you may ask, "Master, what is mindfulness?" I've heard this word many times, but what does it truly mean? Let me explain. Mindfulness means being here, completely, fully. Now, it means that when you're drinking tea, your whole mind is with the T. When you are walking, you are only walking. When you are feeling something, joy or sadness, you are truly there with that feeling. Simple? Yes. But we humans forget this all the time. We eat while thinking about work. We listen while checking our phones. We breathe while worrying about what might go wrong tomorrow. In this way, the mind runs like a wild horse, everywhere except where the body is. And this running mind creates stress, tension, and confusion. But when you bring the mind back to the body, to the present moment, peace begins to return. Mindfulness is not some strange practice. It is a natural way of being that we have simply forgotten. And when you remember it, your healing begins. Let me tell you a short story. A young woman came to me saying, "Master, I cannot stop thinking. My thoughts hurt me. I feel tired even after sleeping." I smiled and gave her a cup of warm tea. As she reached for it, I said, "Drink it slowly. Feel the warmth. Smell the aroma. Notice each sip." She looked at me puzzled, but did as I said. After some time, her shoulders relaxed. Her eyes softened. She whispered, "Why do I feel so calm now?" I said, "Because for the first time today, your mind was not pulling you in 10 directions. It was simply here, drinking tea. This is mindfulness. It brings your scattered energy back into one place. And when your energy is whole, your body can rest, your heart can breathe, and your soul begins to heal." Now you might ask, is mindfulness only for peaceful moments like tea? No, mindfulness is for everything. It is for when you are angry, to notice the heat in your chest before words escape your mouth. It is for when you are anxious, to feel your breath and remind yourself that the fear is not bigger than the moment. It is for when you are in pain, to sit gently with that pain instead of running from it or numbing it. Mindfulness turns every moment into medicine. Even sadness, when observed with mindfulness, becomes softer. Even grief, when held in presence, loses its sharp edges. Mindfulness says, "I see you, my pain. I will not leave you alone." And that loving presence is what your wounds are truly asking for. You do not always need answers. You need presence. Have you ever held a crying child? Did you solve their problem? Or did you simply hold them, calmly, gently, until their storm passed? This is what mindfulness does to your inner child. It holds your sorrow with calm eyes. It listens, and listening itself becomes healing. Now, how can you practice mindfulness in daily life? It does not need a temple. It does not need long hours. You can begin small, very small, in the morning before getting out of bed. Just sit up and feel your breath for a few moments. Notice the light in the room. Feel your feet touching the floor. Say to yourself, "I am here. This is a new day." When you eat, eat slowly. Notice the taste, the smell, the colors. Feel gratitude for the food. Let the food become sacred through your attention. When you walk, feel your feet touching the ground. Feel the wind on your skin. Notice the sky, the trees, the life around you. You don't have to think deeply. Just see clearly. This is mindfulness. The present moment is always full of small miracles, but your eyes must be still to see them. When you bring mindfulness to pain, something beautiful happens. You no longer react blindly. You begin to respond gently. You stop saying, "I hate this feeling," and start saying, "Let me understand this feeling." You stop escaping. You start embracing. Pain, when ignored, becomes a monster. But pain, when seen with kindness, becomes a messenger. It may be saying, "You need rest," or "You've been too hard on yourself," or "Something in your life needs to change." And when you listen, truly listen, healing begins. But this healing doesn't happen in the past or future, only in the now. The mind loves to travel. It thinks about yesterday. It worries about tomorrow. But the body only lives in this moment. When you return to now, you return to your body, and your body begins to trust again. Mindfulness builds that trust. It says, "I am here. I'm not abandoning myself anymore." You can even be mindful of your thoughts. Watch them like clouds in the sky. Don't chase them. Don't fight them. Just observe them. Say, "Oh, here's a thought about fear. Oh, here comes a memory." And let them pass. Like birds flying by. You're not your thoughts. You're the sky that holds them. When you understand this, a deep peace arrives. You begin to feel lighter, more whole, more alive, because finally your heart, your mind, and your body are sitting together again. This unity is healing. This wholeness is medicine. Even your breath, something you've done all your life, becomes a teacher when done mindfully. Breathe in. Feel the cool air enter your nose. Breathe out. Feel your shoulders drop. This simple act, done with awareness, can calm a storm within. No pills, no loud advice, just breath and presence. So, I say to you, begin today. One mindful breath, one mindful step, one mindful sip of tea. Don't worry about being perfect. Mindfulness is not about control. It is about coming home again and again to this moment. And in this moment, you are already enough, already healing, already whole. In the next part, I will share how silence, deep, nourishing silence, becomes your strongest companion on the journey of self-healing. But for now, sit, feel your breath, place your hand on your chest, say softly, I am here, and smile, because here, now, in this quiet presence, healing is already happening. Silence is the deepest healer. Come close, sit beside me. Don't bring your words, just bring your breath. Don't bring your answers, just bring your presence. Today, I will speak to you of something so simple, yet so powerful, silence. Not the silence of an empty room, not the silence of being ignored, but the silence that lives inside you, calm, still alive. Yes, my dear one, silence is one of your greatest healers. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat in silence? Not feeling bored, not running away, not picking up your phone, not turning on music, not filling the space with something, just silence. Most people fear silence, because in silence, the noise of the world disappears. And then, the noise of the mind becomes loud. The thoughts rise, the emotions return, and that's what people are running from. But here's the truth. The mind's noise can only be healed inside silence. Let me explain slowly. When you hurt physically, you may take medicine. You may rest. You may sleep. But when your heart hurts, where do you go? When your mind is tired, your emotions heavy, what do? Many people look outside. They talk, they distract, they escape. But the real medicine is going within. And the path inside is paved with silence. Silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Silence means everything is settling, like muddy water in a glass. If you keep shaking it, it stays cloudy. But if you set it down and leave it still, slowly, the mud sinks and the water becomes clear. Silence is how your soul becomes clear again. In silence, you begin to hear your true self. Not the voice of fear, not the voice of comparison, not the voice of judgment, but the voice that says, I am tired. I need rest. I miss myself. I want peace. This voice lives in you, but speaks only in silence. When you sit quietly, just breathing, not forcing, you slowly open the door to deep healing. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who had lost everything. His job, his family, his confidence. He came to me and said, Master, I cannot take this pain. It's too much. I'm screaming inside. I did not give him words. I took him to a quiet forest. We sat by a small stream. I said, sit here every day. Don't speak. Don't think. Just listen to the water. Just watch the trees. He did not understand, but he obeyed. Days passed. Weeks passed. He came to me again, eyes softer, voice calmer. He said, I didn't find answers, but I found peace. That is the power of silence. It doesn't shout truth at you. It lets truth rise from within you. We live in a world of too much noise, too much information, too many opinions, too much talking. But healing doesn't happen in noise. Healing happens in stillness. Even a broken bone is healed in rest. Even a sick body is healed in sleep. Why would the heart be any different? It needs your silence, your stillness, your gentleness. Here is how you can begin. Every morning, before touching your phone, sit in silence for just 2 minutes. Close your eyes. Don't try to meditate. Just breathe. Just be. At first, the mind will scream. It will say, this is boring. This is useless. That's okay. Let the mind speak. You stay quiet. Silence is not about stopping thoughts. Silence is about not believing every thought. As you sit quietly each day, you'll begin to notice a change. Your reactions will soften. Your heart will open. Your body will feel lighter. Your emotions will no longer control you. You will begin to observe instead of absorb. Silence teaches you this. In Buddhism, we say, silence is not empty. It is full of answers. But you have to be patient. You have to sit with yourself like a friend. No rushing. No fixing. Just being. Silence is the space where your wounds are heard. It is the soft lap where your worries come to rest. It is the mirror that shows you who you truly are. Without silence, you may never meet your true self. Because the noise of the world will keep telling you who to be. But the silence inside, you will gently whisper who you already are. Now listen to this carefully. If you cry in silence, that is healing. If you feel confused in silence, that is cleansing. If you feel nothing in silence, that is resting. There is no right way to be silent. Only honest ways. Sometimes people ask me, Master, what if silence brings up my pain? I say, then let it come. You're not here to fight it. You are here to feel it and free it. Pain that is felt fully begins to melt. Silence does not push pain away. It holds it gently, and through that holding, pain dissolves. You don't need to go to a mountain. You don't need a special place. You can find silence anywhere. In your room, in a garden, in your car, even inside your breath. Try it now. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your breath coming in and going out. Nothing else. This is silence. It was always here. You had just forgotten how to enter. Silence also gives you clarity. When you face a difficult choice, don't ask 10 people. Sit in silence. Let your own heart answer. It will speak softly like a small ripple in a still lake. Trust that voice. It is the most honest one you have. Silence is also where forgiveness begins. When you are quiet, you feel what's still stuck. The old anger, the old sadness, the unspoken words. And from silence, the courage comes to forgive, to let go, to move forward. In silence, you realize nothing was ever missing, just covered by noise, pain, pressure, and distractions. But once you peel that away, you find yourself whole, quiet, beautiful, and that self is not broken. It is healing. So, practice silence not as an escape, but as a return. Return to the home within you. Return to your heart. Return to peace. In the next part, I will speak of the power of gratitude, how being thankful even in small things opens the door for deep transformation. But until then, give yourself a few moments each day. Turn off the noise. Turn inward. Sit. Breathe. Listen. The silence will welcome you. And in that sacred silence, you will find not only healing, you will find yourself. Gratitude turns pain into light. Come, sit again. Let your shoulders drop. Let your eyes soften. And let your breath be your guide. Today, I want to talk about something very quiet, very small, yet powerful enough to change your life, even in the middle of pain. That something is gratitude. Yes, my dear one, gratitude is medicine. You might ask, Master, how can I be grateful when I am hurting? Isn't gratitude only for when things are good? No, child. Gratitude is not just for joy. Gratitude is what brings joy, even when life feels heavy. Let me tell you what gratitude really means. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is the feeling of seeing deeply. It is when your heart bows softly before the small things. The breath in your lungs, the light in your room, the person who smiled at you, the meal you had, the fact that you're still here, breathing, living. Gratitude is not blindness to suffering. It is the light you carry while walking through the dark. Let me share a story. A man once came to me, full of tears. He said, Master, everything is wrong. I have lost my job. My partner left me, and I feel broken. I listened. Then I handed him a small notebook. Write one thing you still have, I said. He frowned. Nothing. I said gently, then write that. Right. Today I have nothing. He did. Then I said, now write again. Something small. Something real. Anything. He sat silently. Then he wrote, I had warm tea this morning. Then, my friend messaged me to check on me. Then, I slept in a soft bed. Then, I am alive. He looked up at me, his face softer. That was the beginning of his healing. You see, pain blinds us to what still remains. Gratitude reminds us what is still here. It does not erase the pain, but it makes the heart wide enough to hold both the pain and the peace. This is important to understand. Gratitude is not about forcing a smile. It's about noticing the gifts that are already present, even when life feels cruel. Even a body in pain is a body that can still feel. Even a broken heart is a heart that once loved. Even a tear is a sign that you are alive and open. There is beauty hidden in all of this, but only gratitude has the eyes to see it. Now, how do we practice gratitude? Very simply, you do not need a ceremony. You do not need big words. You only need a pause and a soft question. What is still good in this moment? Maybe your breath. Maybe the silence. Maybe the touch of sunlight on your hand. Maybe a memory. Maybe just the fact that you are here, listening, trying. That is enough. Gratitude doesn't ask you to deny your sadness. It invites you to stand beside it, holding a small lamp of thankfulness. And in time, that small lamp lights up the entire room. Now listen closely. When you start seeing the good, even the tiny good, your heart begins to shift. It becomes softer, warmer, lighter. You no longer live in fear. You begin to trust life again. Because gratitude teaches you. Life has not abandoned you. It still sends you small gifts every day. A breeze, a kind word, a breath, a lesson. You just need to notice. Gratitude is also very healing for the body. Many people do not know this, but when you feel thankful, your body relaxes. Your stress lowers. Your immune system strengthens. Because when you're grateful, your body feels safe. It says, I don't have to fight. I can rest. I can repair. This is why people who practice gratitude regularly feel calmer. They sleep better. They get sick less. Their hearts are more open. Even in grief, yes, even in loss, gratitude can live. Let me tell you something. A woman once came to me after losing her son. She said, I will never be okay again. I said nothing. But after some weeks, she returned. She said, Master, the pain hasn't gone. But I find myself saying thank you for the time I had with him. For every smile, every moment. And tears filled her eyes. But they were not the same tears. They were tears touched by gratitude. They were tears that healed, not only hurt. That is the power of gratitude. It doesn't remove the loss, but makes space for love to keep living. So, my dear one, when you feel tired, sad, or alone, ask yourself gently, what can I thank this moment for? And be honest. If the answer is only, I'm breathing, then bow to that breath. If the answer is, the pain is showing me where I need healing, then thank the pain. Gratitude transforms your relationship with life. You no longer walk like a victim. You walk like a student of life, of pain, of love, of healing. Let me give you a simple daily practice. Every night, before sleeping, place your hand on your heart. Whisper 3 things you're grateful for. Small things, not things you should feel grateful for. Things you do feel grateful for, even if they're the same each night. This practice, over time, rewires your mind. It softens your heart. It invites healing in, because when you look for the good, you train your eyes to see light, even in darkness. And slowly, your world becomes brighter. Gratitude also helps you forgive. When you focus only on what you lost, your heart hardens. But when you remember what you received, even from someone who hurt you, your heart softens. It says, that moment still mattered. It says, I learned something. It says, I grew. And forgiveness becomes easier. Gratitude doesn't make pain disappear, but makes you stronger than the pain. It doesn't stop the storm, but it gives you an umbrella of peace. So now I ask you, can you find something, one thing, to be thankful for, even in this very moment? Maybe your breath. Maybe the way your heart still wants to heal. Maybe the silence that surrounds you gently. Maybe the truth that you are not giving up. Bow to that. Smile at that. Hold it close. Gratitude is not the end of healing. It is the companion that walks with you all the way through. In the next and final part, I will speak of the moment when self-healing becomes not just a journey, but a way of living, where every breath, every step, and every challenge is part of your awakening. But for now, close your eyes, feel your breath, and whisper, "Thank you, life, even now. Thank you, heart, for still beating. Thank you, pain, for teaching me." And know, in that whisper of gratitude, healing is already blooming. You are already healing. Live it now. Come, sit one last time. Let's not rush. Let's not force anything. Let us breathe together, just like we did when we began. In and out. Feel your chest rise. Feel it fall. Let the breath remind you, you are alive. You are here. This is the final part of our journey. Not the end, but a gentle return. Back to yourself, back to your heart, back to life. We have walked through many gates together. We spoke of stillness, of detachment, of silence, of mindfulness, of compassion, of the hidden strength within you. And now, we arrive here, not to find something new, but to finally live what we've learned. So what now? Now, you live as if healing is not something you're chasing, but something that's already unfolding in you every moment. Because that is the truth. You are not waiting to be whole. You are already whole. You are simply remembering. You see, many people believe that healing is a destination. They think, one day I'll feel perfect. I'll be happy always. I'll never hurt again. But life doesn't work that way, dear one. Healing is not a straight line. It is not always clean. Sometimes you feel strong one day and lost the next. Sometimes you make progress and then fall back. But falling back is part of moving forward. The lotus doesn't grow in clear water. It grows in mud. So don't punish yourself for being human. Don't judge your pace. Don't compare your path. You heal by living. You heal by breathing. You heal by being. There's no magic moment where suddenly everything becomes perfect, but there is a quiet moment when you realize, I'm okay, even now, even in this. That moment is the doorway. Step through it. Let me share a truth from Buddhism. The Buddha never promised a life without pain. He only showed the path to end unnecessary suffering. Pain is part of life, but suffering, that tight resistance, that inner war, can be let go. You can feel pain without becoming the pain. You can experience sadness without drowning in it. And you do that by being present, by trusting your breath, by letting go of what is not in your control, by remembering that every moment is new. There's a story of a monk who asked his master, after enlightenment, what happens? The master said, you chop wood, you carry water. The monk was confused. That's what I did before enlightenment. The master smiled. Yes, but now you do it with awareness, with peace. That is how you live healing. You wake up, you make your tea, you go for a walk, you talk to others, you face hard days, you laugh, you cry, but through all of it, you carry a stillness inside. You carry the medicine of presence. You no longer run from yourself. You no longer hide from emotions. You no longer need to fix every part of yourself. You realize, I am not broken. I am becoming. This is a powerful shift. You no longer wait for healing. You live as someone who is already healing. You eat mindfully. You speak kindly. You breathe slowly. You pause often. You sit with yourself in silence. You notice the small joys, a soft breeze, a bird song, the way sunlight touches your skin. You let your heart feel what it feels, without rushing it, without judging it. And slowly, life becomes your temple. You may still have pain. That's okay. But pain doesn't stop you from living. It teaches you how to live deeper. You may still feel fear, but now you hold your fear gently, like a child needing comfort. You may still feel lost, but you now know the way is within you. Each breath is the path. So now what do? You take all the wisdom you've heard, not as information, but as reminders. You don't need to remember every word. You only need to remember how it made you feel. Soft, present, calm, alive. That feeling, that is your true nature. Whenever you forget, just come back to it. Through breath, through silence, through stillness. Healing is not in doing more. It is in doing less, but doing it with awareness. And now, before we part, Let me give you a small practice. Each morning, before you begin your day, ask yourself, how can I care for myself today? Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, gently. Then take one small step, a quiet moment, a mindful breath, a kind word to yourself. That is healing. And at night, as you lie down, place your hand over your heart and whisper, I showed up today. I lived. I breathed. I tried. That is enough. That too is healing. Remember, my dear one, healing is not a race. It is not a test. It is a returning again and again to who you already are beneath the noise. You're not behind. You're not late. You're right on time. Everything you've needed has always lived inside you. And now you know the way. You are the calm in your storm. You are the silence in your chaos. You are the light in your darkness. You are the healer of your own heart. So go on. Live gently. Live fully. Live with awareness. You don't need to wait for permission. You are ready. You are healing. You are whole. You are home. And now, before you leave, there's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribed. So if this journey has touched your heart, if this message gave you even one moment of peace, then please take a deep breath and help us grow. Like this video, comment your favorite moment, share it with someone who needs healing, and most importantly, subscribe to Wisdom Woven to continue walking this path together. This is not goodbye. It is only a pause in the quiet conversation between your heart and mine. Whenever you feel lost, return to this space. Sit, breathe, listen. You are never alone. The healing continues, always.